So this is my bike computer. It's a Wahoo head unit. So I've used bike computer and head unit in the same sentence. It's interchangeable. I think when it comes to bike computers, first thing you have to ask yourself is like, am I ready to actually buy one of these things? And I think the best way to answer that question is if you feel like you're to the point where you're ready to really commit to cycling. If you're just still kind of on the cusp and like, I'm not sure if this is something I want to do or not, you should just stick to your phone, using your phone, because the phone has all sorts of apps that do exactly the same thing as this does, but you don't have the extra cost of one of these things. Because like I said, the price range on these varies dramatically. This particular one costs about $400, which is a sizable investment if you're not fully into the hobby yet. The cool thing about this head unit is that it tracks all sorts of information about your ride. It can track how fast you're going, how far you've gone, maps, routes, heart rate, just all sorts of data. And I'm a data geek, so I kind of like that sort of thing. Now, what's also cool about this is that there's a whole lot of extra devices that are compatible with it. So if you have a heart rate monitor, like I wear a Wahoo heart rate monitor, it can sync to the head unit. I have a Garmin Varia radar detector on the back of my bike, kind of checking for cars coming up behind me, and it can sync to this as well. So I can briefly and quickly look down at my bike computer, and I can see what my heart rate is, and I can see if there's any cars coming up behind me, which is pretty convenient. Now, there's so much data that this thing can collect that it's almost overwhelming. I mean, you can create multiple customized screens. You can track Strava segments if you want to do that sort of thing. You can manage your GoPro. You can manage music and podcasts. It's ridiculous the amount of things this sort of thing can do. One thing that I like about this, in addition to everything else, is that I ride an e-bike. Now, my e-bike can connect to this just like a heart rate monitor, just like my radar detector. It's just another device for it to connect to. And when you connect to it, the e-bike can send the head unit data. Now, I know that on the TCU monitor on the top tube on the bike shows you like how much battery life is left and what mode you're in. But, to look at that sort of thing, you really kind of have to take your eyes off the road for a little bit of time. And with it being on the head unit, you can just look down real quick and you can get all the information you want. Plus, it's numeric, and my particular readout on my top tube is not. It's just a bunch of lights. So what I want to do is I want to take this computer inside and show you how I set up my e-bike screens on this bike computer. And if you have one of these e-bikes, maybe you can do it as well. All right, let's go check it out. Connecting the e-bike to your bike computer is really no different than when you connect something like your heart rate monitor or this radar detector. And the last thing I have, because I use this bike computer on two different bikes, I have this speed puck on this bike. And when you look at the bike, the screen right here, you can see the three devices: the radar, the speed, and the ticker. That's what they call their heart rate monitor. So if I want to attach the bike, all I have to do is turn the bike on for starters. Okay, now the bike is on. Now let's add a sensor. Okay, hold it next to the sensor. Okay, speed and cadence. Add e-bike and powered data fields to pages. Yes. All right, and now we have an e-bike attached to the bike computer. So now let's mess around with some of the screens that we can have when we're using our e-bike. Okay, we're back to the main screen on the bike computer, and as we scroll down into the sensors, you can see that the e-bike is now one of them. Now let's move over to the first page, and this is what we see on the first page on the bike computer. Okay, let's look at the app that's available for managing this device. Here's the main screen for this particular bike computer, and there's a lot of available pieces of functionality, but I'm really just going to focus on pages for now. Now for pages, it's a list of all the pages that are available for you to cycle through on your bike computer. Right now I have one for basic ride data, and that's what we see on the screen now. If we move to the next page by just simply hitting the page button, we're looking at maps. And if we hit the page button again, we're looking at summit segments. This is the basic view for a ride when you're kind of tracking your elevation and descent, basically. And if you come across a really significant hill or climb, it'll show that data as well. Now on the app itself, there's kicker control, planned workout, workout data, lap data. These are standard pages that you can turn on or off. You can tell which is your custom pages, one you built yourself, by hitting the edit button. Anything that has this kind of little red button here that gives you the ability to delete it, well, that's a custom page you created yourself. So now let's create one where we can actually look at our e-bike data. So I'm going to scroll down to the bottom and click Add Custom Page. We'll call it e-bike data. And let's call it e-bike ride data. Done. Okay, now we're in the section where you can pick which data points you want to choose. So these are classifications of data points, and within each one of them are different specific data points. So let's, for instance, go down to speed, and let's say we want to highlight our current speed and our average speed for the workout. Let's go back and add a few more. How about time? Let's add the time of day, and how about our active time? So the amount of time we've been on the ride and actually moving. Okay, how about one more? How about the weather? Let's add the temperature. Okay, so now the whole point of why we're here is to add e-bike data. So let's do that. Let's go to the e-bike classification and pick some e-bike data points. So travel mode will show you which mode your bike is in, whether it's off or eco or sport or turbo. LEV range, I've never been able to make work. I'm assuming it basically shows miles to finish, but I've never been able to make it work. LEV battery shows you how much percentage battery you have left. Okay, now we're done. And the e-bike ride data is added to the bottom of the screen, so I'm going to edit it and I'm going to bring it up to the top. Alright, so we've got e-bike ride data and ride data. Okay, so let's look at our bike computer again. So right now we're looking at the ride data. So let's hit page, and now we're at the map. Let's hit page. We're at the summit segment. Now hopefully when we hit page, we'll see the e-bike ride data we just added. And we do. Miles per hour, average, clock, ride time, degrees, mode, and battery level. I'm going to turn around here and turn my bike on so we can see some numbers show up. So we'll give it a second to connect to the bike. See if we get some information for mode and battery. Yeah, there we go. We've got, we're in eco mode currently and 69% battery life. So why don't we take this page out, put it on the bike, and go for a quick ride and just check out and see how the numbers change. Okay, here we are. Here's the bike computer. We're going to go for a quick ride. I'm going to turn the bike on. And we'll wait for the mode and battery level to come on. All right, here we go. Eco mode and 68% battery. So let's just go for a quick spin around the neighborhood. And here we go. So as I change modes on the bike, I just switched it to sport, you can see how it changes. You know, it's nothing fancy, but this way I can look down, I can see the word sport and know exactly what mode I'm in. I don't have to look down at the LED readout on the top tube and remember to myself which one is sport. All right, let's switch to turbo. Easy. And we can cycle back to sport and back down to eco mode. And we just go for a ride. It's a little windy out, but you know, it's a nice thing about the e-bike is it cuts the wind a little bit. So hopefully you can see that attaching your e-bike to your bike computer isn't too complicated, and it can really kind of open up your data that you collect and makes everything a little easier to read, and it's just, you know, kind of cool. If you use an e-bike, I hope this was useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.